Yes.
Helping Hands, and this begins, Helping Hands are ready. A new group of your fellow residents is now available, called the Helping Hands team, to offer you some free services not provided by the maintenance or transportation folks. The team can support you in 4 areas. 1 would be visits, if you would like to have a visit from a team member. 2, simple errands, if you need a few items from Sprouts or True Value, but have difficulty getting there. I think that's a wonderful thing. Number 3, you need a hand in your apartment, such as difficulty opening a tight jar lid or hanging pictures, which are not too heavy or large, or reaching a high shelf. Other assistant requests would be considered. No requests for medical assistance of any kind, caregiving of any kind, phones, TV, or computers. Sign up if you need help in these 4 areas in resident services. Include your name, phone number, and type of helping hands that you need, and you will be contacted. The team consists of Ron Frederick, coordinator, Edna Cassman, Barbara Laswell, David Shear, C. Carolyn Brislin, and Michael Gottwald. We need more members, especially those who are, quote, handy. Call Ron at 505-269-4845. For services we do not provide, one option is ACE Handyman Services. And then Ron listed that number, and this was submitted by Ron Friedrich. The second article on the front page is Gift Shop News. The fashion show is still a topic of major pride. Norman posted on YouTube. The models and volunteers had a pizza party to celebrate the great success. We're also going to have a showing in the chapel on August 9th, in the chapel at 2, and we will have popcorn and laughs just like we did the first time. Yes, the price of stamps has increased. The single stamps are 73 cents each, and a card is $14.60. To go with your stamps, pick up birthday cards, tortoise cards, thank you cards, anniversary and wedding cards. There's a new white raspberry tea now for 60 cents each. Try it. You might like it. Thank you and God bless. Submitted by our friend Debbie Harrington, manager of the gift shop.
MDS Library Committee. A number of new residents have moved into Manzano del Sol apartments recently and may not be familiar with our library. Helpful hints. 1, our library is available for use by all residents and staff. 2, books are to be checked out using the cards on the desk. 3, the check cards are filled and referenced when are filed and referenced when the book is returned. Donations of books are welcome. Put donated books into the large plastic donation boxes. Orientation to the library is always available.
Where are you? We're waiting on the
Contact
to read the
Marjorie McCammon.
Applle Barrel.
Apple
Come
210
on down.
or call 505-255-9324. Some quotes from accidents reports submitted to the insurance companies. I think this is for a little...
Right.
The other car collided with mine without giving warnings of its intentions. It is my attempt, in my attempt to kill a fly, I drove into a telephone pole. The third one, I've been driving for 40 years. When I fell asleep at the wheel and had an accident. An invisible car came out of nowhere, struck my vehicle, and vanished. And last, the telephone pole was approaching. I was attempting to swerve out of its way when it struck my front end. That's from the Farmer's Almanac, submitted by Mary Grubb. Attention, all members and friends of First Presbyterian Church. We have a social gathering on the fourth Tuesday of each month. We meet at 3 p.m. in the Courtyard Cafe. Plan for a visit with your friends and Reverend Matthew Miller. Remember, fourth Tuesday, 3 o'clock. Marjorie McCammon. The love I've felt is all I know and gives me grace and leads me down the path to others, people, times, and places, and a further welcome down the road. Mary Grubb.
The next article is Welcome Barbara O'Neill. And this is one of our new neighbors, and I submitted this article on her. The sixth floor is welcoming a delightful new resident, Barbara O'Neill. Barbara was born in New York City to a couple who had returned from their work in India, where they had been medical missionaries for 5 years. Her mother had developed health issues which caused their return to New York. Barbara grew up in New Rochelle and attended New York University for her basic college courses. Because of the experience of her parents in nursing, Barbara wanted to become a nurse. Bellevue Hospital, located in New York, was the first school of nursing in the United States. Founded in 1873, New York was wise enough to offer an abundance of scholarships to guarantee nurses for their burgeoning population. However, in the year in which Barbara applied, the offer had been cut from 3,000 students to 100 because new buildings were being built. She was fortunate to have high enough grades to be accepted as one of the 100. Upon graduation, Barbara traveled to Massachusetts to visit her sister before taking her boards. Her brother-in-law introduced her to a fellow engineer with whom he worked at Pratt Whitney, Edward Daniel O'Neill. Ed, as his friends called him, was so taken with Barbara that he drove every weekend to New Rochelle to see her and wrote her every day. They were married in 1956 and had celebrated 63 years of marriage before Ed passed away in 2018. Barbara said their greatest achievement was 3 wonderful children. Their one surviving daughter lives in Albuquerque. They have 7 grandchildren living all over the United States and 9 great-grandchildren. The first years of their marriage, Barbara and Ed lived in Wallingford, Connecticut, where he continued to work for Pratt Whitney. They moved to Albuquerque in 1971, where he opened his own business, doing contracts for Sandia Corporation and EG&G. After 10 years, he decided to accept EG&G's offer for a job supervising precision sheet material fabrication. Once the children were through school, Barbara went back to school to earn a master's in nursing education. This remarkable lady has a wide range of interests. She taught knitting. She crochets, so she will join the Linus group. And cribbage players rejoice. She will be joining you on Thursdays. She loves to play bridge and work crossword puzzles. At one point, she took a break from nursing to get a real estate broker's license and open her own real estate office. Here's something I learned. When one of us residents pulls the emergency cord in the middle of the night, the call goes to the call nurse in the skilled nursing area. She or he comes with a security person to that resident's apartment to evaluate the needs and takes the required action. I simply didn't know that. I didn't know what would happen. I thought it went to the desk. That's how Barbara came to know about Manzano. She worked 2 years in the skilled nursing across the garden. She thought at that time that this should be a good place to live someday. And now we're happy that day has come, and she is our close-by neighbor. Welcome, welcome, Barbara O'Neill.
Remembering Hiroshima. August 6th is the 79th anniversary of the date the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. This is written by Judy Liddell. I had my new Japanese student friends, I had left my new Japanese student friends and boarded an overnight train to Hiroshima. I was not able to sleep as the train zipped along. Every hour or so, an announcement of the next stop would come through the speaker, all sounding unintelligible. I worried I wouldn't be able to recognize the announcement for Hiroshima. As dawn approached, I could see the buildings from out of the windows as the train passed. All of a sudden, the buildings were not gray and weathered, but were newer construction. The realization that even some distance from Hiroshima, everything was devastated and had been rebuilt settled over me like a shroud. It is amazing the feelings and details that I can still remember after all these years. The train pulled into the station around 6:30 in the morning, and I, along with a handful of people, disembarked. Someone in the station was able to understand English and told me that I could take a bus tour in a couple of hours. When I boarded the bus, I panicked. Most of the others were Japanese. The few that were not were speaking in a variety of European languages. How could I look at the sights of the city and listen to what had happened in the midst of a group of people from Japan? Would they judge me or be disdainful of what might appear to them to be gawking? In fact, one of these happened. The others on the tour were very gracious as the bus round through the modern C1 that would be any city in the early 1960s, that it could be any city in the early 1960s, were it not for the Japanese characters and signs on the buildings. The first stop was the Peace Memorial Park, where the tour guide recited the facts of the bombing and devastation in both Japanese and English. The memorial included a cenotaph where the names of all of those who perished are inscribed. The guide showed us the remains of a building that had been directly under where the bomb had been detonated. It had been left both as a reminder and as a symbol of peace. It was not until 4 years after my visit that the city decided to preserve the skeletal remains, and in 1996 it was declared a World Heritage Site. It left a lasting impression on me. Nearby is the Children's, or a Sadako Memorial, erected in 1958. Sadako Sasaki, were she alive today, would be a year younger than I. She was 2 years old when the atom bomb was dropped on her city. When she was 11, she was diagnosed with leukemia, known by those in the area as the atom bomb disease. Her best friend told her about an old Japanese legend that promised that anyone who folds 1,000 paper cranes would be granted a wish. She started folding cranes out of any piece of paper she could find and had completed over 1,000 before dying on October 25th, 1955, at age 12. Inspired by the fact that she never gave up her friends and classmates, put together a book of her letters and published it, using the proceeds to build a monument to Sadako and all the other children killed by the atom bomb. Today, Sadako's cranes can be seen in peace museums and memorials around the world. As the tour concluded, the guide told us that the people of Hiroshima were committed to reminding the rest of the world about the impact of atomic weapons and were committed to peace. That afternoon, as I boarded the train and headed towards Fukuoka, Fukuoka, to take a ferry to Busan, South Korea, the skeleton of the A bomb building continued to haunt me. Again, Judy Lydell. God, direct my thinking today so that it will be divorced of self-pity, dishonest.
Hey, hold it just a minute. They're making so much noise,
Okay.
no one can hear you.
I'm really concerned about Ray. I called him again,
Okay, through it.
and he isn't answering.
Okay, go ahead now, thank you.
Morning prayer. God, direct my thinking today so that it be divorced of self-pity, dishonesty, self-will, self-fearing, seeking, and fear. God, inspire my thinking, decisions, and intuitions. Help me to relax and take it easy. Free me from doubt and indecision. Guide me through this day and show me my next step. God, give me what I need to take care of any problems. I ask all of these that I may be of maximum service to you and my fellow man in the name of the steps I pray. Submitted by Nancy Ann Agnew.
But that doesn't help us. Well, Ray, wherever you are, we hope you're okay. Pardon me?
I think you're all right now.
All right. The next article is donation box for Roadrunner Food Bank outside apartment 319. Many thanks to everyone who's contributed non-perishable food donations via the Roadrunner Food Bank donation box located outside apartment 319. So far this year, we have collected and donated a total of 73 pounds of food. The box will continue to be available to receive your donations on an ongoing basis, and food will be delivered when enough is collected. If you would like to donate something but it's too far for you to walk to the end of the hall, please call Jan at 505-810-1136 for a pickup. Roadrunner Food Bank says that they have the greatest need for proteins, but will be happy to accept all types of non-perishable items, including toiletries. Thanks in advance for your donation. And that's submitted by Jan DeCourtney, and that is her apartment, hers and her mother's, I assume. She's also submitted another little article on Portuguese conversation group. Fala Portuguese, I think. I would like to organize a conversation group to meet regularly on day and time convenient for all of us. Please contact Jan DeCourtney. Email is preferred, and she gives her address. Obrigada. So if you want to learn Portuguese, call Jan. She's a busy lady. Do you want to welcome Betty Bennett, or would you like me to?
You go ahead.
This Betty Bennett is one of our new residents as well. Join me in welcoming a delightful new resident to the second floor, Betty Bennett. Betty has been here since mid-May. She recently lived with her daughter Rebecca and family in Rio Rancho. Her other daughter, Abby, lives in Albuquerque. Betty was born in a small village near Crown Point, one of 5 siblings. She went from 1st grade to 8th grade at a BIA, or Bureau of Indian Affairs, boarding school. Students were discouraged from speaking Navajo by their Anglo teachers. Betty went to Bloomfield, New Mexico High School, where she attended class for the first time with Anglo students. She was often the only Navajo in her classes. Then, with BIA assistance, Betty went to a community college in San Francisco, where she studied various business courses. And there she met Frank Blanchard, a Chippewa student from Wisconsin. They worked in San Francisco before moving to Crown Point area to be close to family. They had 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. While Fred took a BIA job, Betty worked for the Navajo Tribal Police Department for 4 years. She was a stenographer for the judge and a Navajo interpreter for the non-English clientele. Betty then took 3 BIA jobs where she worked in social services, then as a personal clerk, and finally as an individual money clerk. She retired after 33 years. After Fred passed away, she married Herman Bennett, a fellow Navajo. They had 1 daughter. The best and hardest thing Betty says she ever did was to leave her traditional Navajo religious practices to join a church where it is a joy to learn about Jesus. She looks forward to worshiping God every Sunday in a church that meets her spiritual needs and gives her focus in life. Betty likes living at Manzano del Sol because she gets to do what she likes. She also enjoys the friendliness of the fellow residents. Betty is grateful she's adjusting and settling in. Much of this adjustment is due to the attitude people show at Manzano del Sol. Welcome. And that's submitted by Carol Summers. Now we have an unknown person who submitted a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
Right, page 7. Gathering of the Gods. Now, there's a couple of words here I may or may not
I know.
pronounce correctly. I think that's...
We need Ray to read his poem.
The Aesir have to Asgard come, where Odin waits across the window bridge. There wifey Rind, or is it Frigg, awaits to greet both Thor and Sif with friends. And close behind, Aegir and Ran. Quite grand refreshments will be served, of course, beneath the spreading Yggdrasil, and Bragi will create some clever rhymes of Vidar to perpetuate in runes to shape more Eddas bold and fierce. Like those about Asker, Imbla, and all the others who today enjoy Valhalla's banquet spread of treats. Beware of Fafnir, warned the anxious Norns, who want some mention by the bard. Who notes this complex catalog, except those dedicated ones, who spend their idle hours at work on crossword puzzles day by day. Ray Reader. Yes, I wish he had
Way
read
to
it
go.
too. Love is that condition in which the happiness of another person is essential to your own. Robert A. Heinlein, and submission is unknown. This article, coming up, this article is a follow-up to the June Applle Barrel article about the many uses of white vinegar. Okay. This article is about using apple cider vinegar to grow hair on a bald spot. Probably this will interest ladies more so than men. My hairdresser said she read about this in Prevention magazine, and she is proof of the pudding that it works. It worked on her hair and several of her clients as well. She said if someone had a bald spot in her hair, every time she shampoos her hair using a cotton ball, saturate the spot with apple cider vinegar. This is not an instantaneous happening. You must be tenacious, applying the vinegar every time you shampoo your hair, for however long it takes to grow your hair back. If you hate the smell of vinegar, well, she has no suggestions. And that's submitted by Betty Griffiths. 7th page is, even though Vera is gone, guided meditations will continue on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the hobby room. Barbara Laswell will lead the group on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Richard Stamm will lead the group on Wednesdays. Everyone is welcome. Okay, page 8 shows the August birthdays.
Right.
801, room 325 is Rose Malagodi. Emily 4, 806. I'm not going to read the room numbers.
No.
Catherine Gunning, 806. Martha Helms, 810. Marjorie McCammett, 813. Jean Mann, 817. And James, her husband, 818. Mary Lou Sullenberger, 822. Janet Carnegie, 824. Teresa McMillan, 825. Oh, Louis Fernandez, 825. Our neighbor. Mm-hmm. And Sandra Neal, 827. Carolyn Money, 829. And we have a happy anniversary on 8/24/1955 for Charlie and Maggie Batzel. Also on 8/25/1962, Richard and Elaine Stam. And we have a welcome to new residents, Lois Goebel, 418, and Helen Lucero, apartment number 615.
And she hasn't arrived yet, so I guess that's just soon to come.
Okay.
Because I noticed there's still nothing on the door.
Okay.
We didn't know who it was that was going to be moving in.
And here are a couple of birthday facts that are fun. In a room with 23 people, there is a 50-50 chance that someone else in the room will share your birthday. If you increase the number of people to 70, your chances increase to 99%.
Oh my goodness.
And the source for this is thegallerycollection.com.
Wow. And I think the ones that we are most interested in are the one which we're doing it today, and then resident council will be held next Monday on the 5th at 2 o'clock, so that should be interesting to attend. I think they've had further meetings about what was told us. The food committee, I'm sorry to chuckle about this, but this is just an ongoing challenge, isn't it? Thursday, August 8th, it's always held on the second Thursday of each month at 9 o'clock in the library. And then the library committee meeting, and Marge is always welcoming people to join her committee, and they just always need help, assistance. That takes place on Wednesday, October 14th at 10 o'clock on the second Wednesday of each month. And then the City of Albuquerque Book Van will be here on Thursday, October 15th at 1:30 in the chapel. Now, do they ever bring books, David, for people with visual problems?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I just wondered if it would. And the Project Linus, where they knit and crochet Afghans for children in the hospital or for the police department, will be taking place on Friday, August 16th. And also, if you have anything that you need a little sewing done on the 16th, our sewing lady will be here in the afternoon, at 1:30, in that little lobby area by the nurse's office. And you might be interested in that. The other activities are ping pong, bowling, and bingo that I don't think any of us are interested in. Next is the announcement of all of our wonderful, we are so blessed to be able to have so many Christian services here. I don't think there's another residential area that has the services that we do. And so it announces all the pastors that will be speaking at Sunday afternoon at 2 and Wednesday services at 6:30 all through August. And then the Catholic services, Mary Grace, always continue with Jacob Romero as the celebrant on the first and third Monday at 10 o'clock. Here's an article by Nelson Mandela. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. Is our light not our darkness that most frightens us? We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, Who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And that was Nancy Agnew who submitted Nelson Mandela's quote. Jan Courtney has another announcement, and oh my goodness, now she's encouraging us to join her French conversation group, Parlez tu français? I would like to organize a conversation group to meet regularly on a day and time convenient for us all. Please contact Jan DeCourtney, and she gives her email, which she prefers for you to follow, and her text or a text message on her phone. Merci, Jan DeCourtney. Wow.
Page 11. This is a public announcement, public service announcement from your wellness director, who should practice what I teach. Oh, this is by Betty Logan. No?
Ann Schroeder.
Ann Schroeder, okay, thank you. The perils of perching on a platform or standing on a ladder outside in the middle of the hurricane-force winds. Yes, I'm not proud about it. I knew better. A very kind resident overheard me telling my tale about trying to get the remaining part of my shade sail down during one of our unusual summer storms that had already ripped the other three corners of the sail right out of my house and garage. The part of the conversation that she found disturbing was my description of climbing up on a ladder in 50-mile-per-hour winds, armed with wire cutters, with one in my functional hand, to cut loose the remaining shade sail before it suffered or caused more damage. This was not her finest or smartest moment, but apparently I have more good luck than good sense, because I was able to cut loose the sail successfully without falling head over heels off the ladder. This kind resident, Judy Lydell, shared one of her finer moments with me, and this is Ann Schroeder, which helped me realize I am not alone in taking unnecessary risks or not realizing it might be relatively risky activity. Would you like to join us?
I guess I will, sure.
Okay.
You're reading the alphabet.
Yeah, we still have quite
Yeah.
a few pages, so come and join us.
Recently, while birding, Judy had to borrow a pair of binoculars that were particularly heavy and didn't have a harness that would have kept them securely next to her body. As she headed up a trail on an incline with her cane, the binoculars started swinging like a pendulum, causing her to lose her balance, fall down, and scrape up her elbow. Lesson learned: don't hang something around your neck while you are walking or hiking. Just because we are all getting older does not necessarily mean we have to stop doing things. Just stop putting ourselves in possibly risky situations. Think before we act. And as I said, that was Ann Schroeder. The full serenity prayer. Submitted by Betty Logan, and it shows a little guy with, oh, he must be 4, with hands on his knees with hands folded, praying. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoy one moment at a time, accepting hardships as a pathway to peace. Taking, as he did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make things right if I surrender to his will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever and ever in the next. Amen.
Brief articles on this page. One having to do with the Project Linus group. And this is wonderful because it explains to us exactly what it is. Project Linus started in 1955 by Karen Locks, who was inspired to make blankets for a local children's cancer center. Now, the mission has expanded to include seriously ill or traumatized children. The name comes from a Peanuts character, Linus, who appears carrying a blanket. Participants are called blanketeers. Blankets must be new, handmade, and washable. Styles include quilts, tied comforters, fleece blankets, crocheted and knitted afghans. Sizes vary from newborns to high school. Any size is welcome. We meet once a month at 10 a.m. on the third Friday of the month in the hobby room. And Carol Summers she chairs that group, and she's the one who submitted the article. And then here's an announcement about doing just what we're doing, reading the Applle Barrel together. This group has been meeting for a very long time. It was put together by a former resident of Manzano del Sol. It was designed to help those who are visually impaired. Carolyn Cox and Ray Reeder have decided to keep it going as they are now the readers of the Applle Barrel. Anyone is welcome to join as a reader or a listener. The group meets the first Thursday of the month on the second floor at 3:30. Questions, contact Carolyn Cox. And then my phone number is given. And this was submitted by Resident Services. Then Jan Courtney, she was a busy girl. She has a little announcement about the Chat, Coffee, and Craft group. Craft, Chat, Coffee takes place on Thursday afternoons from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. on the third floor common room. Come anytime and leave anytime. Just stop by to say hello. Bring your own coffee or beverage if you wish to have a drink. Tables are available for crafting projects or hobbies. Questions? Contact Jan DeCourtney. The last article is telling us about Tai Chi Ku. A group who is familiar with the movements are leading us in a Tai Chi Ku on Monday mornings at 9 a.m. in the third floor lounge. Please come and learn this meditation exercise with us. Questions? Contact Marjorie DeWig.
Page 13.
Yes.
Said reading of the Psalms. Revered and treasured in synagogues and churches of every denomination for millennia, The book of Psalms is probably the most well-known of any book in the Bible. Almost any human condition or emotion, from fear, anger, loss, and sorrow, to faith, joy, thanksgiving, and worship, is expressed within its chapters. Any question we might have about the nature of God Himself, to questions about our human condition, are addressed within the Psalms. Called both the prayer book and the songbird of the Bible, Psalms are largely Hebrew poetry. The symbolism and idioms, the style of writing and expression, are different from English poetry, yet the beauty of its message continues to speak to us personally still today. Mm-hmm. Read Psalms Roundtable meets on Wednesdays from 1:30 to 2:30 in the hobby room. This is facilitated by Carrie Lee, and each week they read one chapter from different English translations. Carrie shares insights from the original Hebrew, and we enjoy rich discussions of the meaning and application of the verses. And this was submitted by Carrie Lee. Crazy Eights, Jan DeCourtney. Crazy Eights meets every Tuesday at 2 p.m. on the 4th floor lounge. Everybody is welcome to come and play. Dominoes. Join us in a game of dominoes. We meet every Thursday starting at 6 p.m. until 8 on the 3rd floor. Again, everybody is welcome. And that's by Diana Pina. If your 3rd floor movie night, if your Monday evenings are free, join us on the 3rd floor at 6 for a movie. The flyer for the movie that's being shown will be posted on the 3rd floor common room.
Oh boy, this is important, folks. The next article is on page 14, and it's by our dear nurse, and she has written about fall prevention. And number 1, she says, keep moving. Physical activity can go a long way toward fall prevention. With your health care providers okay, consider activities such as walking, water workouts, or Tai Chi, all of which are offered here at Manzano. These activities reduce the risk of falls by improving strength, balance, coordination, flexibility. If you avoid physical activity because you're afraid it will make a fall more likely, your provider may recommend carefully monitored exercise programs or refer you to a physical therapist. The physical therapist can create a custom exercise program aimed at improving your balance, flexibility, and muscle strength. Also, we're fortunate, and this is an aside apart from the article, in having a cardio room where we can ride bikes and be guided by our wellness director, Anne. She can show us how to use it in order to benefit our developing strength in our legs and in our arms. Number 2 in Vanessa's article is wear sensible shoes. Consider changing your footwear as part of your fall prevention. High heels, floppy slippers, and shoes with slick soles can make you slip, stumble, and fall. So can walking in your stocking feet. Instead, wear properly fitted, sturdy, flat shoes with non-skid soles. Sensible shoes may also reduce joint pain. And the third is remove your home hazards. Take a look around your home for potential fall hazards to make your home safer. Remove boxes, newspapers, electrical cords, phone cords from walkways. Move coffee tables, magazines racks, and plant stands from the high traffic areas. Secure loose rugs with double-faced tape, tacks, or slip-resistant backing, or remove loose rugs from your home. Repair loose wooden floorboards and carpeting right away. That means, for us, put in an order for maintenance. Store clothing, dishes, food, and other necessities within easy reach. Don't be climbing up on stools, in other words. Immediately clean spilled liquids, grease, or food. Use non-slip bath mats in your bathtub or shower. Use a bath seat which allows you to sit while you're showering. Have maintenance install grab bars by the shower as needed. Fourth, light up your living space. Keep your home brightly lit to avoid tripping over objects that are hard to see. And also, place night lights in your bedroom, bathroom, and hallways. Place a lamp within reach of your bed in case you need to get up in the middle of the night. Make clear paths to light switches that aren't near room entrances. Consider trading traditional switches for the glow in the dark or illuminated switches. Store flashlights in an easy-to-find place in case of power outage, and that's very important. Number 5, use assistive devices. Your healthcare provider might recommend using a cane or walker to keep you steady. If this is the case, please be sure to always use them for your safety. Other assistive devices can help too. For example, using handrails anytime you are going up or down stairs. Use non-slip treads. A raised toilet seat or one with armrests. Grab bars for the shower or tub. A sturdy plastic seat for the shower or tub, plus a handheld shower nozzle for bathing while sitting down. A reacher is a good tool to keep for items that are either too low or too high in your apartment. When using a step stool to reach items, please ensure that someone is standing close by in case you were to lose your balance, etc. I do not recommend using a step stool when alone. And that was our good nurse, Vanessa Jackson's reminders to how we can avoid falling. Now, Ray Reeder has another article here. Dear MDS friends, thank you so very much for the many birthday cards you sent me. It's a good feeling to be remembered by one's peers. We old geezers become very emotional over any kindness. So keep in mind next year at this time, better at receiving than sending. Sincerely, Ray Reeder, old enough to vote. Yeah, he is a mystery man right now. Also, here is Mildred Langston with an article about voter registration. Do you know you must fill in a new application when you move? Now, hopefully everybody has done this. We can do that online, but you must prove you identify as specified. To help anyone who isn't comfortable showing your change of address online, we will be providing a limited number of applications in the library beginning August the 6th. We hope to have a limited number of applications for absentee voting also in the library beginning August 6th. The applications in the library can be folded and mailed back to the county clerk's office. The clerk will change your address on the voter rolls and mail you a new voter registration card showing your new precinct. It's wise to take care of this way ahead of the November general election because going through the mail can be slow. This is a public service offered by our Bernalillo County Clerk's Office, Mildred Langston, apartment 238. And oh, dear Lord, help me to remember that nothing is going to happen to me today that you and I together can't handle. Amen.
Amen.
And sometimes that's a wonderful thing to remember.
And there's a wellness outing August outing at Tijeras Pueblo Archaeological Site, Friday, August 23, leave at 10:30 a.m. Tijeras Pueblo was initially built in the first part of the 14th century. There was a large round kiva that may have also served members of nearby communities, since it was larger than what would have been needed for the size of this pueblo. This site is also considered to be an ancestral site by some Pueblo of Isleta families and others. The guided tour covers the area where the people of this village lived and worked over 700 years ago. Illustrated signs and a concept model of the Pueblo gives you a glimpse into the lives of the ancestral Pueblo people. The museum has artifacts collected that represent a broad variety of pottery traditions. There is also a mural designed and painted by Deborah Hohola within the museum. The mural depicts the greater Tiwa world as understood during the time of the occupation of this site. Hopefully, there will be a docent available to guide and educate us during our visit to the Tijeras Pueblo Archaeological Site. As usual, friends and family are welcome to join us. And that's by Ann Schroeder, and it's on August 23rd, Friday, a Friday.
Mm-hmm. Self-guided.
And that is the reading of the Applle Barrel.